Okay, guys and girls, we are going to skip 13-3 and jump right into 13-4, where we're going to journalize the payment of those payables, those tax payables that we just talked about, for the employee income tax, which is the federal tax, the Social Security tax for the employee's share and the employer's share, and the Medicare tax, again, for both the employee share and the employer share. So this is what it'll look like. Of course, it's going to be a payment, so it'll go in your cash payments journal. All right. Now, I started on the PowerPoint and I skipped a couple slides, but it's important to know, remember we're talking about quarters. And the first few slides go into all this great detail about how do you figure out how often you have to pay your taxes. And that's really not important for us to learn right now. Believe me, if you go into business one day and you have to pay it, you will find out more than you ever wanted to know about it. But for now, we're just going to assume that the employer is going to be paying the taxes at the end of the quarter. So if you think about the first quarter is January, February, March. So that quarter taxes would be due April 15th, which is the 15th of the next month following that quarter. So then let's look at the second quarter. The second quarter would be April, May, June. So the next month is July, so July 15th would be the due date for the second quarter. Hopefully this makes sense to you. So in this scenario that we're looking at on this PowerPoint, they're going to pay the taxes for the federal, Social Security, and Medicare. That all goes to the same place. That goes to the federal government. So it can be paid in just one check. So as you can see, each one of the taxes is listed as the debits because you're paying a payable. When you pay a payable, it's a debit. And then your amount of check for all three of them combined, which is right there. Okay, that seems simple enough, hopefully. All right, and then we talk about our federal unemployment tax. Okay, your federal unemployment tax would be due, and this is where it gets a little confusing, is due monthly. So the last day of the month, you're going to be paying your unemployment tax for the payroll incurred that month. Okay, and it will go in the cash payments journal too, and it's going to be a separate check from state unemployment tax for obvious reasons. Federal unemployment tax is going to the federal government, where state unemployment taxes would be going here to the North Carolina Department of Revenue. So the 31st, and you're paying a payable once again. And so that's the debit, and the credit amount would be the amount of the check, which both of those amounts would be the same. And likewise, you would do the same for your state unemployment taxes. So that being said, let's pull up to MindTap and to 13-4. I made 13.3 unavailable, so you won't see that anymore. And let's get into it. So before I cover up the directions when I unpin my information up here, we're using the payroll data as of March 31st. So that means that we're going to pay it on April 15th in accordance to what I was just talking about. And it talks about the fact that we're going to journalize check number 495 to do our cash payments for the federal taxes. And we're going to use checks number 522 and 523 for the federal unemployment tax and the state unemployment tax. So I'm going to get this unpinned and we will get started here. Okay, so here we go. As we said, we're going to pay this on April 15th. So we're going to start with the first one with the employee income tax payable. And that's going to be your federal income tax. In the directions, it just tells us right up here that we're using check number 495. And right over here, it tells us that amount of that check is $1,300, or that amount is $1,320. Okay, but we're paying a couple different things here, so I'm going to leave this blank for just a minute. We're also going to pay the Social Security tax payable. Now this is where you want to be careful, because you're not going to just put $1,331.76, because that's the employee Social Security tax withheld. Remember, we're paying both the employee and the employer Social Security tax payable. So we just have to add the two together, or double it, okay? So that amount is going to be $2,663.52, okay? And then the last one for this one is going to be Medicare tax payable. And again, we're going to be careful with that. The employee amount is $311.46, but we have to account for our share, so we're going to have to double that number, and we get $622.92. Okay, so this is all the stuff that we're paying in this check to the federal government. So add them all together, and that's the amount that the check needs to be. So if you add them all together, it's $4,606.44. Okay. All right, so April has 30 days. Remember, we're paying the federal and state unemployment tax at the end of the month. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next tab. The next tab tells us that our balance is on March 31st. So we are going to type in unemployment tax payable federal. Okay, and it tells us in the directions we're going to pay that with check 522, and that amount is $515.52. So the amount of that check is going to be $515.52. Okay, and also on the 30th, we're going to be unemployment tax payable state. That's going to be check 523. It just tells us right up here in the directions. That amount is $1,159.92. Again, I'm just getting that from this. Make sure you see the different tabs up here. Okay, $1,159.92. Let us check the answer. Oh, I typed in 95 instead of 92. Still do it at home. Okay. Don't do a typo like Miss Clark did. All right. So now it's your turn. Get busy.